Now we are ready to present our next demo. This is by Next Advisors. We welcome Mr. Atul Khanna. He is the Chief Technology Officer and he will take us through the online transaction platform by Next Advisors. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sunesh. Thank you for the opportunity and welcome. Good afternoon. I'll give you a 2-minute quick overview about the company. Straight away then move to the platform and the other products which we are offering. So the whole purpose of Next Advisor was when we found that IFAs are facing a challenge in order to grow. So we analyzed and found that between 60 to 70% of the cost and time was being spent on transaction and service related issues. Also an IFA need to invest in technology and knowledge of multiple products to de-risk his business model and marketing activities to get more customers. So we thought that if we could help an IFA achieve his goals, so that's why we formed Next Advisors. So we said we will be product agnostic, which means that we never recommend or de-recommend any product. We are also style neutral, so if you want to charge fees or not charge fees, totally your decision. Our mission is to create a win-win for all. So starting with the investor, he'll get a need-based advice from you. He'll be able to transact for multiple products with you. He'll also be able to do majority of them online, so that errors are low. Monitoring and servicing is efficient. He can transact anytime from anywhere in the world. Also, for you, your business is 24/7. There's a huge increase in productivity, errors are low, so your clients are happy, your business is growing. Two things which are distinguishing ourselves very clearly. One, your brand identity as an IFA is maintained, which essentially means that all transactions would have your airline as a broker code, so that all commissions are paid by manufacturers directly to you, and that to the full amount. There is no brokerage sharing in our case. Second, because you retain the control of your clients, you retain the control of your income. So there is zero business risk for you. And for the manufacturer, the benefit is increased sales and reduced cost. So let's see how this actually happens. There are two ways in which an investor can be redirected from the platform. One is from your website. So let's say there is an example. Investor would enter the ID and password and be straightway redirected to the platform. The second could be through a reporting software. So for example, Nayak Wealth is an IFA who is using InvestWell as a reporting software. So it could be InvestWell, it could be Vijaya, Wealth ERP, anyone. So once I have logged in as an investor, I get this Invest Online button. Once I click on that, I get the list of people whom I can transact as. So in this case, let's say there's a family with husband, wife and son. Let's say in one folio is husband and wife, second is husband plus son. Then you will create two separate IDs. Let's say ID 1 as husband and wife, ID 2 as husband plus son. When the client transacts with ID 1, investment will go as husband plus wife. If he transacts with ID 2, it will go as husband plus son. Let's say in this case I want to transact as Atul Khanna. So the moment I click on that, I will now be redirected to the platform. Now the platform is white labeled, which essentially means that it will have your logo and your color scheme. So the investor will always feel that he is dealing with you only. So he will just authenticate himself again and log into the platform. Now if you were to look closely at the URL, the application is hosted on the payment gateway server, which is tech process. This is done to ensure that your data is absolutely safe and secure. Now these are all the online transactions which I have done. So this is the HDFC Cash and so on and so forth, IDFC Franklin. So these are the buttons for additional purchase, for sell, for switch, for STP, all of that. If I want, I can look at the transaction history as an investor and find out, let's say, have I done any transaction in the past 1 month? So the moment I click on OK, I get to see all the transactions. I can look at the locked entries in case there's a FMP investment which I've done, or if it's done for tax saving schemes. So let's say the customer has come to you and he wants to transact online. So there is initially an account opening process. So we have made an application which will generate this agreement field for you. So you take the customer signature on the agreement. The second part is an agreement, one-time agreement between you as an ARN holder and a PAN number. So why I am replacing ARN and PAN is because when you are scanning and uploading this account opening form, agreement, PAN card copy and KYC copy to CAMS, Karvi and Sundaram one time, it is stored at an ARN plus PAN holder level. Then investor can do transaction under any combination of folios because his documents are already available with the RNT, right? So assume that you have done it and you have created the investor profile on the platform. Now let's say I want to purchase. So I want to purchase in a scheme which is not there currently. So let's say I click on purchase. I'll get those AMCs with which your online SLA has been signed. Now what is this? Because you are acting as a broker in our case, AMC wants you to follow certain norms. So those norms are mentioned in a document called service level document. So what we do is, once you become our customer, we create these documents on your behalf and send it to the AMCs. For majority of AMCs, the process is that they would print frank and send you 2 copies. You need to stamp, sign and send 1 copy back to them. So once the SLA has your and the AMC signature, you scan the first and last page and tell to us, so that this particular AMC is activated in a drop down. Let's say I want to purchase a Khanna scheme. Once I click on search, I'll get all the schemes with the scheme related information. If I want, I can click and view the offer document. Let's assume I want to purchase. Once I click on this, you can see the service fee. Now this is a transaction based fee which you can charge from investors. So what happens is, because you might want to charge different fees from different investors, so we have created 10 investor categories. You can decide which investor to be mapped to which category. For a category, for an AMC like Khanna, within that for different scheme types like equity debt balanced, within that for different investment amount ranges, let's say 1000 to 10,000 rupees, you could have configured a fixed charge, let's say 10 rupees per transaction, or a percentage charge, let's say 0.2% of the amount. Now this is a transaction related fee and not a financial planning fee or an AUM based fee. Let's say as an investor I want to invest 15,000 rupees. Now if I click on add to cart, I can add multiple schemes of multiple AMCs and hit the payment gateway only once. So this reduces the time and effort for the investor to transact. Let's say for simplicity's sake, I want to do a single transaction. So I would enter this captcha. So this is generated each time to ensure that there is no software which is doing this transaction and only the person is doing this transaction. Then investor can select among the one of the banks which you as an IFA have configured. Now why this is critical is because it's your responsibility to ensure that the accounts which are configured would not allow an investor to do a third party payment. So as of now we have tied up with 41 banks. You can configure up to 5 accounts for a retail person and 10 for institutional. So this as of now debit card is disabled because the charges are very high, which is 1% of the investment amount. So we are trying to negotiate and bring it down further for you. So in our system the cutoff time for liquid fund purchase is 12 o'clock and for non-liquid the cutoff time is 1. We cut off early because we need to credit the AMC account before the cutoff time so that the investor gets the same day NAV. Also because we need to send the feed file to the RNTs. We are also in discussion with various RNTs to have a single feed structure so that at a single click the feed can go from our server to RNT server and vice versa. We will then be able to reduce the time to maybe 1:30 or 2 o'clock. So once the investor clicks on buy now, system asks him to accept the terms and conditions. So anything which is related to compliance, which is related to transactions. So for example, if you have to disclose anything to your investor, you can put in the terms and conditions, and because the investor is accepting each time before he is doing a transaction, your transaction related compliance norms are met. So you would still have to do the compliance related to advisory if you have done an advisory in terms of why you have recommended a particular scheme to an investor, does it meet its need and so on and so forth. So once the investor clicks on OK, then via the payment gateway, which is tech process, investor is redirected to the net banking page where he enters the net banking ID password. So money is deducted from his account, credited to tech process account, who then sends the money to the AMC account. It also sends the feed file to the RNT. So the reverse feed which comes from the RNT, let's say the WBR2 file of CAMS, it will have both offline plus the online transactions. So once it is uploaded to the system, the units are updated on the system. The second is a wrap functionality. Wrap basically means you as an IFA want to recommend a set of specific schemes and weightages depending upon the client profile. So you can create the multiple model portfolios. Each model portfolio can have the set of schemes and weightages as configured by you. So let's say in this case there is an 80-20 weightage. Let's say investor says I want to invest 50,000 rupees. On click of submit, system would then automatically allocate the money to the various schemes. On click of next, it will add up the fees and say this is the total amount which will be debited. On click of buy now, enter the security code, select the bank, accept the terms and go to the payment gateway page. In case the investor wants to redeem, he can click on sell. All the units which were purchased online or converted from offline to online are shown to the investor. Investor can select the scheme, just enter the amounts for the units and click on sell. In this case the money is directly credited from the AMC to the investor account. Generally for liquid fund I have seen T+1, so if I have done today, by tomorrow morning I got the credit to my account. For equity or debt it could be T+2 or T+3. In case of STP, it's an intra fund house STP. So what I mean by that is, let's assume as an investor I have got units in HDFC cash management fund. Alright. Then I can transfer it systematically to any other HDFC scheme. So from HDFC to HDFC, from Kotak to Kotak. So I can just select the units which I want or the amount which I want to transfer systematically. So once I select the frequency, each AMC for each scheme has a defined dates on which the STP can be done. It is automatically pre-populated so that the investor can select only from those days, and hence there cannot be any error possible. So I just select the start month here, end month here, and the STP will get scheduled. Similarly, I can schedule a systematic withdrawal plan. I can do a switch. Now SIP, what happens, there is a two-step process. One is a account-wise mandate form. When I am saying account-wise, it's a bank account, not AMC at all. So let's say for example an investor is investing 3,000 or 2 schemes as of now, so it's 6,000 per month. You expect in the next 15-20 years this amount would, let's say, become 70,000 per month. So take a mandate of 1.5 lakh or 2 lakh rupees. So submit it to the bank. So once the mandate has been registered, the mandate status becomes successful. Now the beauty is that within that single mandate, investor can schedule SIP with any AMC, any scheme at any point of time. So for example, as of now I am scheduling an SIP with say Axis fund, say banking fund. Say the minimum amount is 1,000, but I want to start an SIP worth 5,000 rupees from my account. So again the system will populate the dates on which the SIP can be scheduled. In this case it's any date. So again I just select the so once I click on submit, the SIP is scheduled. No paperwork required. Let's say 3 months later I want to start another SIP with Kotak. Come online, start SIP with Kotak, log off. 2 years later with Birla, 3 years later with ICICI. So keep on adding SIPs till the mandate amount is not breached. So within that, sorry?
The mandate amount is per month amount?
It's per month amount. Per month. So up to that amount, the bank can debit the customer account for whatever scheme which you along with your investor have decided. Also suppose investor sometimes comes and says I don't want to pay this month SIP, let's say there is a function at my home. So up to 8 working days prior to the SIP date, you can come online and click on the SIP cancellation menu. All the future SIP schedule will be displayed. You can cancel that month or 2 months SIP. So that month debit would not happen. Next month SIP would automatically restart. Now this is that shopping cart wherein the investor can purchase, sell, switch, STP, whatever. Account statement we had seen, logged in, profile, help is for seeing the demo, FAQs and terms and conditions. Now, let's say the investor is comfortable and he says, I had bought certain units earlier which were in the offline mode, please convert them also to online mode. So there is this offline to online folio conversion document. This document would be on your letterhead, investor will sign it, you will have to sign it, submit it to the R&T. So you will have to submit it for a client at an AMC level. So let's say in an AMC, if a client has, because of multiple folio holdings, you can put all the folios in a single application form. Submit it to the R&T. R&T will then update the status from offline to online. Those transactions will then be available online for future transactions once the WBR2A file is uploaded, so that all the transaction history is available. So right from the start to end. So it's not as of today, but the whole history is uploaded on the platform. Now this is the investor side of the platform, but there is also an admin side of the platform wherein as an IFA you can create the client profile. In 2 minutes I'll quickly show you the admin side of the platform as well. If you have any other question regarding the investor side, okay, it's clear. So this is where you can create investor documents, upload the investor to create the investor profile, upload the SIP mandate information, upload the bank information, the front end for creating or modifying details. This is where I can generate the transaction oriented reports. So let's say as an IFA, I want to understand all transactions done by my investors online, let's say within the past 1 month or 1 year or 1 day or whatever. So if I were to now click on submit, I'll be able to see the transactions across all my customers. But if I specifically want to see for a specific investor, I can select the investor ID. Once I click on submit, the system will show all the transactions done. So this is the option where I can create tariffs. As I said, you can create tariffs for a particular customer group. Within that, for an AMC, let's say for purchase in equity type of schemes, let's say I want to configure fixed percentage or a combination. Let's say the investment amount is between 1000 to 25,000 rupees. I want to charge 10 rupees plus 0.1% and so on. I can create multiple slabs. I can also create wraps and then map the schemes to the wrap. So for example, for this test wrap, I want to map, let's say, this scheme. So once I click on search, all the existing schemes which are mapped to that wrap along with the weightages are shown. You can then add, reduce to whatever. Now this is regarding the transaction side. As Next Advisors, our mission, as I said, is to help IFAs grow the business. So we are doing further tie-ups. So we have also tied up with Godrej Properties. So in case of Godrej Properties, you would become a sub-broker because Godrej Properties is not ready to deal with multiple IFAs. So you can sell their real estate. They have around, as of now today, 11 projects going all over India. You can sell it to your investors. In that case, the commission would come to us and we'll then pass on 80 to 85% of the commission to you. We also have tied up with Motilal Oswal for exclusive PMS products, wherein we call it as a smart value plans. So the whole purpose here is that if the Indian investor wants to invest in Indian equity and debt, when should an investor invest in equity? When the market is low and sell when the market is high. So how to automate is through Motilal Oswal valuation index. Okay, so it is combining of price to earnings, price to book value and dividend yield. So basis of the Motilal Oswal valuation index ranges, system then decides whether to sell or purchase. And looking at that, what we have found is that if we had backtested for 10 years, so if an investor had invested 10,000 rupees in March 03, in March 2013 this value would have become 90,000 plus, and the biggest part is the volatility of our plan is the lowest, and hence the Sharpe ratio of our plan is the highest, even as compared to the Motilal Oswal PMS itself. Now this is for a person who just wants to invest in Indian equity or debt. But what if the investor wants to invest in more broader asset classes? So we have then taken the 7 asset classes, which is liquid, Crystal G10, Hang Seng, Nifty, CNX Mid Cap, and Nasdaq 100 and gold. So these 7 asset classes have a minimum correlation along with each other. So depending upon the investor profile, the allocations change. So let's say it's an heavyweight guy, so he can take an equally weighted plan. So where the 49.29% allocation is maintained, and hence there is a risk and return characteristic. Then there are different characteristics. Now because everything is executed through ETFs, so the cost to the investor is less than or equal to, let's say, around 1.8%, almost like a direct plan. And you would still continue getting brokerages directly from Motilal Oswal to you, and the ranges are between, let's say, 2% upfront to 1.25% tail and so on. Now the third thing we have done is tied up with Phillip Capital for overseas mutual fund investments. So today if your investor wants to purchase, he'll then have to tie up. He can then transfer minimum 50,000 SGD equivalent to their account. The investor can then purchase any foreign schemes at any point of time. Now we are also further tying up with other things, for example Will Secure, which is for online wills and so on. Other than that, we keep on doing our annual events. So I would request you to come to our website anytime. So this is the recent event which we had done. So which was telecast on Bloomberg. There are the photos and videos. So we had called Mr. Devdutt Patnaik, and then after hearing him, a lot of IFA said it's a very good thing which we have understood as to what our sages wanted to communicate through stories, symbols and rituals. We also want to tell to our investors. So we have actually helped getting his books at a cheaper cost to all the IFAs, who have used that books to attract more and more investors and get more and more AUM. Then for example we do SMS, so a lot of IFAs came forward and said, can we also use SMS facility for our investors? So we have helped them do that. So we are trying to help an IFA overcome and earn more and more in whatever ways and means possible, because this company is promoted by 8 IFAs in Mumbai, so we know what are the requirements of an IFA are, and hence we are committed to ensure that we do the best as far as we can concern to help IFAs grow. So you have any questions? I've kept 3 or 4 minutes, I've gone a little fast. So if you have any questions. Yeah. Yeah, see, for SIPs only, you cannot convert the SIP from offline to online, because the SIP document has been given to the AMC, and AMC is registering or generating that SIP debit instruction and giving to the tech process. So tech process, as I said, is the same company which is processing 26 AMC's SIPs, which includes HDFC, Reliance and so on. So for the existing offline, SIPs will not get converted to online. So what I always recommend my IFAs is, as a good practice, first register the mandate, do a test transaction so that you know that everything is fine, then start the SIPs online and then stop the offline SIPs. The existing offline SIPs will not come to online automatically. Yeah, so what basically we are planning to do is saying that, the biggest problem of our Indian atmosphere is that Indians feel that writing a will means you are talking about debt, so they are very, very afraid to do that. But legally, nominations do not safeguard. Nomination just allows the person to have a custody holding of the assets, but only when the person who has got a will written, he gets the ownership of the asset, and if he dies intestate, then there's as per the religion, Hindu law or as per the Muslim law, then the assets allocations get divided. But if as an individual person you want to give will to your money to a certain person, you need to make a will. So rather than doing that offline, what we are saying is, there is an ability for you to be able to come online, enter the details, create the will document. So once the document is signed, it will be sent to you as a PDF. So you can then print it, sign it, take 2 signatures and keep it with yourself. So we are also trying to talk to them saying that can we offer a custodian facility for the wills as well, so that in case anything happens, your will can be retrieved by the custodian and given to the person to whom after your death the money should go to. Yes. Yeah. So also we are trying, a lot of people are coming saying financial planning, reporting software are coming saying we want to tie up, and what we are saying is we will want to go with the best and ensure that we help to IFA get at a reasonable price. So that's the whole approach of us. So rather than each IFA doing that activity, we are doing it at single place and giving it to you. Sorry? I'll just come to that at the end. Okay, the last thing which I have is the fees which we charge. So as you would have understood, we do not get anything from the commission in terms of the brokerage stage which you get. There is no brokerage sharing in our case. So what we do is we take some fees from you. So there is a 20,000 rupees plus tax first year fees. First year is considered for 15 months because it takes some time to get the SLAs processed and so on. Second year is 10,000 plus tax. Now because of AMC support, there is no transaction based fee for you, and also there is a 3-year plan. Plus you have got AMC support, and hence we are able to bring this facility which is available to a lot of big brokers as of now to retail people at a minimal cost. So that is the whole purpose of this platform. Right? Any other query? Yes, FMPs also can be invested online. Anything else? Okay, I would like to first thank Sadek and Network FP for giving this opportunity to show our offerings to all over India. Congratulations and thanks,
Thank
Sadek.
you so much, Atul.
Thank you.
You so much. Can we have a round of applause for Atul? Thank you. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. All the people who are watching this exhibition through live webcast. Thank you for being with us for throughout the day. On last count, we have had 450 people logging in from across India for the live webcast. So this has been a commitment that that we will try and take all our offerings, all our solutions, or the events which we do across India, and this is the first step for doing that. So thank you so much for being there with us, and we look forward to see you next year also. Thank you so much. Thank you.
खत्म निकाल दें हाँ मेरा लैपटॉप